are back for another episode of Get a Load of This. From the Silver Creek Studios, I'm Jared.
And I'm Ryan, not in the Silver Creek Studios. I am in the underground bunker again.
The bunker, yep. Bunker Studios.
Yeah.
We got to outfit you with a little better hardware. I know you wanted to do that at one point, going all out.
Yeah, I think I might go on. That's a good point. Tonight, after we're done, maybe I'll go on Amazon and look for like a USB microphone and see if there's something better out there than what I got here. But
yeah, good luck getting it. They're not shipping anything out except essentials.
Well, I tell you, my coworker, he ordered a chair, like an office chair.
Mm-hmm.
Less than 24 hours, he got the fucking chair. It was, and he was completely prepared for a delay.
Yeah.
But it came in no time.
I ordered some guitar strings. It said it's going to be over a month. And I was like, well, maybe it's just those strings. So I went through and just like looked at a bunch of different strings and they all said the same date. I'm like, motherfuckers.
Yeah. What if you're going to do a living room concert
right?
for the people out there to make everybody happy
Would Dave Matthews have to wait a month for his guitar strings?
Well, he's probably more prepared for this.
He probably has a lot of guitar strings.
Right. He's probably got a guy that's willing to risk getting corona to restring his guitar for him. I'm pretty sure. There's one on here for $40, USB microphone. And it gets a good rating, too. Like 3,500 ratings, 4.5 stars. Might have to look into that. But then I have to sit up and talk into it. I'm all kicked back in my desk chair right now. It's kind of nice. The headset game is the way to go, I think. I feel like I've changed the whole way I operate here. It's nice.
The kind of sort of a known, I don't know if it's a saying, but among the podcasting community is USB microphones are the beginning of a long road of pain and suffering because they're just a pain in the ass.
Well, I think if we were in the studio there, I would absolutely agree because they're not what we're doing. I mean, it's just a whole different technology, right? I mean, you're going there through a mixer and through, not an amplifier. What do you call it? An interface.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I mean, ultimately the interface is USB. It's still going into the computer through USB, but it's designed for that with all kinds of hardware and electronics to make that happen.
Yeah, for the folks that are doing like a solo podcast and they're just, getting started off and they want to stay cheap or whatever, it's probably great. They get their, whatever app, if it's Libsyn or not app, they get their Libsyn account and they plug in and go.
I think what you're trying to do, which is for the purpose of this podcast remotely, just plug into your computer and record. I think that's fine. It's when you try to do like 2 USB mics at the same time or 4, then you're screwed. Like you're going to have all kinds of problems. When you plug one in, it's probably going to be fine.
Agreed.
But
you're out there in the podcast community. That was probably hot. Sorry, I just yelled. If you're out there in the podcast community and you have an opinion on this, let us know. Yeah. Or if you want to send us a free microphone, that'd be great too. If you happen to work for, what's that microphone company? There's sure.
So many of them.
That'd be nice too. The one in local St. Louis.
Oh yeah, Heil Sound.
Yeah, if you're Heil Sound, you want to send us a free microphone for us to test it out.
Yeah, they never did that. What's up? What the hell?
I don't think they're listening, or they're not paying attention. They may be listening. They're probably just not paying attention. We need to yell at them.
Well, speaking of Amazon, there's a few different things I thought we could talk about, but we don't have to dive into this. But I guess you heard about them firing the guy who started the strike or whatever, tried to organize a strike.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think fucking right on. They should have. Yeah.
And now they're being investigated by the Attorney General because, wrongful dismissal or whatever, right?
Well, I don't know what state it was in, but there's the whole. So I think is New York an at-will employment state, which means that you can fire anybody for any cause whenever the hell you want to, basically.
Well, but it also said in the state of New York, you are allowed to quote unquote organize, and you're supposed to not be able to be fired for that.
Here's my take.
A pretty vague description.
He decided to organize. I think he just organized a walkout.
Right.
He didn't say, "Hey, I'm starting a union. You guys want to join local dickhead?"
Right.
He said, "Hey, fuck this place. Let's leave."
Mm-hmm.
And that's different. That's being a disruptive employee. That's also not respecting authority and just being a jackoff. So that's different. So if he were to say, you know what, I feel like we need to start a union because we're not being treated fairly. That's different. And then I would support him, But I would say that Amazon would not be in the right if they fired him.
Now, to his credit, I agree with you for one. I agree. He was disrupting, and they should have, or they had I think they should have the right to fire him. But supposedly the reason he's doing it is because he felt like the employees were not being treated properly, or specifically safely. Weren't given proper safety measures for the coronavirus. So he's got it's a valid point, I guess. If I felt like my company wasn't taking care of its employees regarding this, I'd be pissed.
Well, coming from the private sector, and I've worked in it my entire life, I would say tough shit, suck it up.
Yeah.
If I feel like my company's not treating people fairly, I quit.
I
go
find somewhere else.
Job. Yeah. And that's just how it works. Now, it's not the U.S. Attorney General that's looking into it. It's the New York Attorney.
Correct.
Which means that it's fucking dumb shit de Blasio who ordered it, and he's an idiot. He's an absolute maroon. He's a dumbass. And honestly, if this guy wins another election, it'll be amazing. I mean, and I'm not being a Trump super Trumper here, but like the guy has stepped in it so many times in the past 2 weeks on this coronavirus shit. It's like, just shut up, man. You're wrong. And this is the 21st century. There's too much technology out here to capture every word your dumbass says to prove to everybody that you're fucking lying. So just stop. Just fucking shut up.
Now, the other twist of the story is, and I haven't seen this in any headlines, and I had to kind of read, deep down into the story to get to this part. This guy has been told to stay home because he was exposed to another coworker who has tested positive for coronavirus. Now, I don't remember if he has symptoms or has been tested or anything, but he's definitely been told by the company, stay home, you've been exposed, and he continues to come in or at least show up to try to organize this thing. And so they're saying he's been warned multiple times, and on this day that we fired him, he showed up again after being told to stay home. Now he's putting everyone else at risk, potentially their entire operation of, shipping stuff out for Amazon at risk,
right.
Because he's being a dick to come in. Now, and if you asked him, he'd say he has an honorable reason, but it doesn't matter. You were told by your company to stay home for a specific reason. If this was going on anywhere else and you were told to quarantine and you broke quarantine, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And on top of all that, to me, everybody's sort of ignoring the fact that Amazon is allowing people to stay home and quarantine. You can get your groceries sent to you. You can get your toilet paper sent to you. You can get all the stuff you need and not have to go out. If that suddenly stops because all of Amazon decides, guess what? Our employees are worth protecting and we're not going to ship stuff out anymore, all this quarantine goes to shit.
Well, you got Walmart. You still got ways to make things happen.
I'm just saying, they're the biggest online distributor.
Yeah.
So
well, it sounds like they're bending under the
fact
pressure
that the company is trying to stay, if they were telling him, or if they are telling their people to work through illness, which it sounds like they're not, they told this guy to stay home. It's kind of like for a good reason, right? Amazon is helping everybody else stay home, in my opinion. But there's more to the story for sure than just Amazon fires employee who tried to organize a union. It's like, well, that
I think it's
exactly
pretty fresh too. Just I pulled it up. It's a pretty recent. I mean, it's still kind of unfolding. There's a tweet from like 4 hours ago from some chick. I have no idea who it is, but kind of going over that Amazon says he was let go for coming to JFK after being placed into quarantine. So yeah, I mean, it's still. I mean, I don't know how old the news that is, but I hadn't read the whole article. I just think, look, he should be happy he's still got a job. Yeah. And he shouldn't be disrupting things. And if he's sick or if he's worried about his health, he should take that up with his boss and be like, look, I don't feel comfortable. And I'm sure that there's probably a policy in place to say, like, all right, we understand you don't feel comfortable. This is trying times. You're welcome to go home. And you're not going to lose you. We're not going to fire you. If you want to go home and you don't feel safe working here,
now
that's fine.
It could be, and I don't know this. I haven't read this, but it sounds like right now they are telling him to stay home, but then maybe they weren't saying that, when he felt at risk, they were saying, too bad, you got to come in. And then he got coronavirus from somebody else who they said, you should have known better. And now he's pissed about it. That could be for sure, but it sounds like he's maybe just being a dick.
Yeah, I think that's probably it, but who knows? We'll see. But that's kind of what we have to look forward to, I think, with this whole thing.
Yeah,
is it's going to end at some point. It may end twice. Like we may have this lull in the summer where everything kind of dies down, and people will start to, reflect on the events and how things were handled, and people will. Not investigate's probably not the word, but they'll analyze how things were approached and what was said and what was done, and I guarantee fingers will be pointed, and it's going to get interesting. It's going to get real interesting real fast. And then if it does recur in the fall, which it's likely to, maybe fall through the winter, then we get to do it all over again. And you've got all the opportunity in the world to prepare appropriately. If you're a city leader, a state leader, or the leader of a country, you've got all the time in the world to make sure that things are done the right way this time, because you have fair warning. But there will still be an end the second time, whether it's through a vaccination or through just whatever, the thing dies out. Who knows? There will be another end, and then there will be another analysis, and there will be more finger pointing. And I kind of can't wait for that because I think it's really gonna shine a lot of lights on people at every level, the national, state, city, at boards of education, which is an attempt to transition. There's going to be a lot of changes that need to be made, and eyes should be opened. And honestly, if you're a taxpayer, you should look at who your leaders are. If they're Mayor de Blasio, or if they're J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, or whoever, you should be watching these people like a fucking hawk and making sure that A, they're not getting paid out on the back end of something. B, that they're not lying to you. They're not just flat out, lying to you about the situation. De Blasio and Cuomo are still up there in New York bitching about not having supplies. There's a fucking hospital ship that just docked in the harbor. And, everybody said that wasn't going to happen. Trump's lying about that. Well, it's kind of fucking hard to argue with the giant fucking ship sitting in New York.
I'm getting pretty tired of hearing a Pritzker bitch about the federal government, but specifically the White House administration. For failing to send enough equipment or the right equipment or whatever, and to Illinois specifically, and it's like, he's saying, "Oh, Trump promised to send us, however many cases of tens of thousands of masks, and he sent the wrong masks. What an idiot!" It's like, first of all, Trump's not sending anything or doing anything. Like, maybe he's signing off on something to say, send this. I guarantee you there's another group, another agency, another whoever that's handling that.
No, don't you know? They're hey, Trump, you need it in the war room. Hold on, I got to box this up for Pritzker. I got to get these masks out tonight.
Yeah, I promise, JB.
Yeah, I need some postage. Got any tape?
I mean, come on. It's just so fucking stupid. And it's every other day we keep hearing this shit. He's just bitching and moaning about how the federal government isn't doing enough to help Illinois. As if there's not enough other shit going on. I don't know. It's really annoying to me, but
I feel like that's a not nonpartisan, but that is a bipartisan issue that folks on both sides of things are tired of it. I'm tired of it all the way around, and just, you know what? Just shut up. Let's stop being bitches. Fix the fucking problem. Get it done. And
yeah,
you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I ran over. I think I told you I have this little control thing that's in line on the microphone, on the headset.
Okay. And I ran over it. Wow.
Yeah, and it beeped at. So anyway.
Well, speaking of being dicks and whatnot, it's not a kind of a personal story. It involves my wife, right?
She's being a dick.
No, she's not being a dick. People are being dicks.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion. So maybe they're being very honorable and doing the right thing. But are you aware of, I'm sure you are, the porch pictures project that she and some other friends of ours are doing?
Yep, I'm aware.
Okay. So to let our listeners know, This is a thing that's going on nationwide. I think it originated in Boston maybe, and it's sort of made its way here, where during this time of quarantine, people can have their family portraits taken on their porch. So you go outside your front door, stand on your porch, and a photographer will come to your house stand in the street or the driveway or the front yard or whatever from a very safe distance and take a few family pictures. And then in return, you donate, I think it's a minimum of $25, and it goes to this specific cause. So here in Monroe County, where we live, it's going to, I forget the name of the organization. It's like Monroe County Neighborly Love or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And they're raising money for people in need, and they're giving them supplies and whatever, right? So it's an organization that's already been around. This isn't a new thing for the quarantine. It's just a cause they're giving to. So it's like for a good cause, right? And there's no harm. The photographers are staying in the street. The people are staying on their porch, and that's it. So apparently my wife and these other women who are participating in this are catching some heat. Not locally. They're being told that some people back in Boston, they're hashtagging that group, whatever that is. And that group is catching heat for not respecting the quarantine, not respecting the shelter in place. And they're getting out to take these pictures and having people come outside and whatnot, right? And so they're catching some flack. So this group in Boston got a hold of these gals here and said, hey, you might want to ease off or, stop for a while or whatever because of that. And I'm like, fuck those people, not the Boston people, fuck the people who are bitching. I'm like, you're not doing anything risky. You're going out in your car, you get out of the car, you're standing in the street, you're taking their picture. There's no interaction of anybody, and they're catching heat for it. I'm like, what the hell? If you can't do that, what the fuck? I don't know. That's my opinion, is what the fuck.
So here,
but I know you're kind of one of these, you're a little more strict with the quarantine than I am. So what do you think?
Well, but I'm not. I mean, I told you I went to rural. I am, but I'm not. Right. So I went to Rural King. I had to do some shopping to finish a project. But while I was out, I was vigilant. I was trying to make sure that I avoided everybody as best I could.
Right.
I used my hand sanitizer as soon as I got back in my truck. I was vigilant about the whole thing. I didn't like it, but it was kind of necessary. I wanted to get this job done. I can't sit here and do nothing for fucking ever. Right. Furthermore, the store's open. So what the fuck are we doing here? So anyway, let me give you this before I give you my opinion on that.
Okay.
I talked to a lady I work with today about this situation. She lives in New Jersey, I think. But she typically works in New York. She's working from home. And she's a nice lady. I did not know this before this whole thing kicked off, but she's a prepper.
Okay, like a doomsday prepper.
Yeah, a little bit. Which also I found interesting is that I'm pretty sure she's more liberal than she is conservative. I think she does not like Trump.
Okay.
I think she was probably a Hillary voter. It's just things I picked up on. I could be wrong, but nonetheless. She's a nice lady, and I think she's awesome. I enjoy working with her. She's a lot of fun, and she's funny. So we bullshitted today for a few minutes about how things going up there for her. I know it's rough in New York. There are a lot of people dying. There are a lot of people sick, and I said, so you guys staying in? She goes, oh yeah. She goes, I'm prepared to stay in my house and not have to leave for like 3 months. I was like, wow, well, good for you. And I said, but don't you think it's kind of pointless? If it's not 100% participation, the principles of what we're doing are going to fail. We're not going to be able to accomplish the goal unless we have not 100%, but really fucking close to 100%. And she agreed wholeheartedly. She's like, yeah, it's aggravating that people aren't taking it as seriously as they should be because it may not impact you. You may have a young, healthy, fit family that goes running every weekend together. They go run a fucking 5K, all together, and they sing Kumbaya the whole fucking way. And that may be perfect, but there's other people out there that you don't realize you are putting at risk by your actions. So even my driving to Rural King. So, the point is that the goal of stopping the spread is not going to be successful unless everybody stays the fuck at home. Basically, only when it's absolutely necessary do you go out and run an errand or do X or Y or Z, whatever it might be. So, and I tend to agree with her. I think it's more apparent for people in like the Northeast where it's bad, or in maybe Washington State, which is kind of drowning down, New Orleans or Chicago. Some of the major, Italy, obviously. It's more in their face, right? It's harder to avoid. For us, we're a little bit sheltered. We don't have a lot of cases where we live. St. Louis isn't even that bad. So I don't think we're taking it as seriously in this region. And I think there's other regions around the country that are the same way, that aren't taking it quite as seriously. But I feel like it's going to kind of bloom. It's going to blossom.
Yeah, they're definitely predicting that.
Right.
For the Midwest.
So I don't know how bad it's going to get. I mean, I think it's going to get worse. I don't think it's going to get all crazy, like they've been, some of the models have shown, which we'll get into that. We can talk about the models too in a second, because it's all just, statisticians picking their favorite, data points and projecting based on those. There's really not a lot of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of bad math. Let's put it that way, if you will. Maybe there's some good ones out there, but we don't know which ones they are. Anyway, so point is, if you don't have really close to 100% participation, it's not going to have the desired effect. So then why the fuck do it to begin with? Now the argument can be made, well, you're going to save a few lives if you do it. Some people, are going to not be infected because we're just doing the best we can. But at what cost, right? We talked about this a little bit last time. So we're decimating an economy, a global economy, but yet people aren't paying attention to it, or people aren't abiding by these rules. So we're doing this for nothing. We're destroying industries for nothing because certain people aren't taking it seriously. So anyway, now that's the story that I had about her, and I'm getting long-winded. I know you're dying to cut me down here.
Okay.
But as far as the pictures go, I get it. I get what they're saying. I get what the Boston people are saying. And I feel like it's because of what they're seeing on the streets and on the news and on their local news, and maybe they have family members or friends that are impacted by it, that they're like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be at home. And I think if we were to put things in that context, that group of gals, all their good intentions, understandable. And I think that there's nothing but good in their hearts and in their minds. They're just trying to make people happy and trying to make it easier to make it through this shit. But they should probably not at this point.
I don't know. I mean, okay, I get it, I guess. I get the concern, but when you look at it and go, okay, we're allowing people to go to the grocery store and touch a fucking cart and touch every package of shit, and this apple is a little brown, I'm going to put it back. And grab, not this box of cereal, I want that box of cereal, or whatever, right? And touch all this shit and interact. And I know these stores are supposedly taking steps to keep people apart, and they got a shield up in front of the cashiers and shit. But we're like, yeah, go in there and get your stuff. All this shit. These people are driving by themselves, getting out of their own car, standing in the middle of the street, taking a picture, and getting back in their car and going home.
Yeah.
If that's not the safest way you can do anything, I don't know what is. Like, we're complaining about that, but we're allowing people to go to Rural King or, wherever. It's like, what the fuck?
That. So like 2 or 3 episodes ago, I said something along those lines, like the response does not equal the outrage. I think something like that is what I said. That if we're gonna be this outraged by it, and we're gonna be this alarmed, and we're gonna get on the news and we're gonna talk like, oh my God, people are not, and scream from the rooftops. Well, then act accordingly, right? At that time, we still had presidential candidates out holding rallies. We still had, nobody gave a shit, right? Today, we have airplanes flying over us, carrying passengers that are not socially distanced, that are maybe coughing on each other. And Southwest Airlines is saying, oh, but it's okay because we wipe everything down every night.
Right.
Not after every flight, every night.
Right.
So, the reaction doesn't match the outrage, right? And so, again, I'm saying that they should probably not, because that's the right thing to do. I just think they probably shouldn't make everybody more comfortable and happy or whatever. I'm not saying that people going to the grocery store are right. I'm not saying that me going to Rural King 4 times is right. But we should all make those trips and outside of the house more infrequent. I work with a large group of Indian developers. I've talked about them a little bit. They, are in a city outside of New Delhi called Noida, and the whole country of India is locked down. There is no travel allowed. Mm-hmm. If you walk out of your house, there is a cop within a block that is our military within a block of your house, and they will ask you, what are you doing? Where are you? What are your intentions? And if you don't have a damn good reason, they're going to tell you to go home. And if you don't go home, they're going to beat you. And it's a different, obviously it's a different world, different country, but they're doing that because India is such a tightly, everybody's on top of each other. That if they don't do that, it will spread like wildfire and many, many people will die. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like the sacrifices that we're being asked to make here aren't that bad, and I think, as much, like I said, I know that, the gals taking these pictures they have no ill intentions at all. I 100% believe that. I know it. But it doesn't matter. I feel like if they're going to, or they can weather the storm. They can continue to take flack from people, and it's going to keep coming. It's not going to stop.
I mean, that's what I said. I mean, you're going to hear it, but that's what I'm like, fuck those people. If you can't leave your house by yourself in an open air environment and not interact with someone beyond the distance of their yard, then what the fuck? If you can't do that, then what the fuck else are we doing? Like, nothing else is okay. If you can't do that, then nothing else is okay. Yeah. Anything short of walking out of your house is unacceptable. So,
the idea behind
anybody who says you can't do that.
Right. The whole idea behind this is that shelter in place.
I know, but that's my point is, at this point, it isn't really shelter in place. It's go to Rural King, go get your car fixed, go get your groceries, go to the doctor, get your dog's shots, do all the shit you need to do. And everybody, for the most part, at all those places is being careful. I went to the vet today. Our dog had to get shots, and they only let one person in at a time, one dog in at a time, and they presumably cleaned up some stuff when we walked out. They tried to take some measures to keep it down. But that being said, like, I'm allowed to go there. I'm sure somebody's giving me shit about it, but there's not picketing out front of the veterinarian's office. I don't think anybody was yelling at you when you walked out of Rural King today. No. Yet you get on fucking social media and it's okay to trash these people who are A, doing a good thing for a good cause, and B, they're fucking 100 feet apart. Like, right. It's just, I don't know. I get it that there should be concern, but my point is, unless you're going to absolutely lock down quarantine, like apparently India, which we're not doing here, then fucking back off these people. Like, let them.
Well, we're not doing it from like the martial law or military standpoint. But I believe that if you are in Boston or New York or San Francisco or Chicago or New Orleans or some of these cities that are getting just fucking hammered, right? Then you got a different lens that you're seeing things through.
But I'm saying, are those people in New York able to go out and get groceries? I think so.
I think they are, but I don't think they're allowed to. I'm sure they can. Yeah. I don't know, maybe not curbside, but I think that they're allowed to go out and get necessary things. But I think it is soundly discouraged, and as a community, I think the majority of people are abiding because it's in their backyard. I mean, they got 1,000 or 1,500 deaths in New York. Yeah. Probably almoalmost 2,000 if you count Jersey and New York together. I think. I mean, they got a lot. They got a problem, right? Sure. The majority of the problem, we got 3,700 deaths in the U.S. or something like that. Mm-hmm. Most of those are in New York and Jersey, right? I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot.
Right.
So, So yeah, it's in their backyard, and they're probably, a lot of them are probably terrified. So I would say that, if you've got someone from Boston on social media saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Get out, get back in your house." They don't know where you live. They don't know how many people live in your neighborhood. They don't know how you got there. They're just saying, like, "Look, I'm doing this. You should do this too. It's for the good of society. Mm-hmm. It's what we're supposed to be doing." And I look, I went to Rural King, so obviously I don't agree with it 100%. I'm being not devil's advocate, but I'm just kind of being like,
sure,
yeah, look at it through this lens, and maybe it'll make more sense. I I got a lot of mixed feelings on this entire thing.
And I will say, I've kind of, this is to sort of counter my point, I've kind of flipped on my overall attitude. I think earlier on everybody did, but especially, I did. I kind of had a relaxed attitude about it. I thought, it seems like we're overreacting. This isn't going to be as bad as they're saying, all that stuff, right? But it definitely seems like, at least in the case of New York, it's definitely getting worse fast, right? I mean, just like a week ago, we were well under 1,000 total deaths, and now we're at, like you said, 3,700 or whatever. And it's not going up quite exponentially, but it's a lot. I mean, every day there's more cases and more deaths by a lot, not just a few more. It's, so it's definitely getting worse. Now, does that mean it's just going to continue to like exponentially increase? And by this summer, we're going to be at 500,000 dead people? I don't think so. But so I do feel like there is still this risk of us overreacting a little bit, but it's also like, well, unless we do, this is going to keep increasing. So we do have to like head it off. But I think there's a realistic way of doing that, and things that should be acceptable, like walking out your front door to get maybe the newspaper or something, should be okay. But even that is like, oh my God, you opened your door. It's frowned upon.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, I think that most, like, everybody's going to get their mail. You can go for a walk and take your dog for a walk, and just if you do encounter somebody else on the street, keep your distance or whatever. I was out talking to my neighbors over the weekend, and it was funny. So Joe was in his driveway. I was basically in the middle of my yard on the sidewalk, and then Mike came over and he stood in the middle of the street. We were way more than 6 foot apart. Rebels. And I mean, I'm not that extreme about it, but I mean that's what makes them more comfortable. Then I'm going to do that, Right. And also, what's the harm in it, But when it comes to basically, you're publicizing the fact that you're out and about doing something during this time where people are being told to stay home. That's the simplest. Now, forget about forget about the good intentions, forget about the happy pictures and all of the good things. It's difficult, but put it all out of your mind and put it in that simplest view that people online are seeing, like, well, what the fuck are these people doing out of the house, breaking quarantine? What do they fucking do? Because they're not seeing everything else. They're just seeing, I'm in here doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and they're not. Fuck them.
Yeah.
So that lens,
yeah, you're right. That's true. I guess if it was me, and I don't think they're necessarily doing this, though they might be. I don't check every single post they have, but I would make clear on every single post, like Instagram or Facebook or whatever, shooting from the street or definitely keeping 100-foot distance and blah, 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 blah. Like, we are absolutely, going solo to the photo shoot today. No interaction, hashtag blah, 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 or whatever, right? Make that clear so that people don't think you're just all going together and carpooling and having fun and that you're absolutely taking this serious. But apparently you can't. I mean, if you go out at all, you're not taking it serious.
Well, I was talking today about homeowners associations, and some history. Won't get into that. The point is that don't try to do any good. Basically, it's a bad lesson. You don't want to tell people this.
Yeah.
But don't try to be a good person. Don't try to serve the community, because it's a thankless job. People will always find something to criticize you on, And you've really got to have thick skin if you want to. And so mainly what I would say, and this is like if you're a politician, if you're a school board member, or the superintendent, or a teacher, or the president, or whatever, right? You've got to be able to weather that storm, because there will be people that think they are smarter than you and they think they can do your job, and they're going to call you fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So, and this is no different. Your wife and her friends are out there doing something, again, with all good intentions, but it's a thankless job. There will be people out there that are just douches. They're just fucking. They have nothing better than do that other than just sit there and point the finger and be like, "You're not doing this right." Now, So I know I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I mean, I think they're kind of right. The way they're going about it is wrong, but they're kind of right in that, like, yeah, it takes as the highest amount of participation possible. In order for this to be as effective as we need it to be, we need immense participation. We need 95+% participation. And we're not getting that. We're getting like 50, maybe 60,
Yeah.
Furthermore, people at fucking Rural King, for those of you listening outside of the region that don't know, it's basically a farm and home store. It's like kind of like a Walmart, but more rednecky, more country music and camouflage.
You're encouraged to bring your dog in, and they sell chickens and stuff.
Yeah, they sell.
It's a great place. I love it, but it's very redneck.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells funny. I wish that they could get rid of the smell of chicken shit or whatever the hell it's made. But it's that time of year. We got the ducks and stuff in there. Time of year. Anyway, it's a fine store. They have just about everything you need. It's the closest thing for me to go solve those problems. Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I forgot.
Well, there's a guy I follow on Twitter who tweeted out the other day a complaint, though he wasn't. He was trying to say it as if he was just being matter of fact, but he was definitely complaining. But he said he was out on a walk, which right there shows you that, well, he's not completely honoring this shelter in place, but he was out on a walk and he saw these two kids playing basketball in the driveway. And he stopped and stared at them and looked, just observed, clearly in a disapproving manner. Like, these two kids are playing basketball during a quarantine.
Now, but he's going for a walk.
Yeah. Now, if you're assuming that one's down a friend from down the street and they're interacting, they're bumping into each other, they're sweating on each other, whatever, then yeah, that's wrong, right? That kid, they're going to pass something on and the other one's going to take it home. But you don't know that. They could be brothers like that live in the same house and they're playing basketball. What the fuck? Then he says, yeah, the police are here now. I guess they're interested too. And I'm like, he didn't say he called the cops, but he didn't say he didn't. And I'm like, fuck whoever called the cops. Now, granted, again, if this kid's from up the street and they're interacting and they shouldn't be, and now he's going to take something home with him, that's a problem.
But hold on. Where was this? Where
I'm guessing, like, I would guess Chesterfield or something like that.
So local.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a couple problems. Most likely those kids were in school together 2 weeks ago,
right? And
probably sitting next to each other on a bus, and playing in gym class together, or God knows what, right? So they're living in the same germ pool already. Them playing one-on-one, even if they don't live together, is probably not going to increase their chances.
You're getting you're losing sound quality here. You're getting all digital sounding. Yeah.
God damn it. Well, it came up a couple times and
said sounds better.
My internet connection was shit. But it's probably
those kids too much. Get off Fortnite.
Too much Fortnite. I got 200 gig service, man. I got
see,
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but no, I think if they're they're already swimming in the same mess, so it's not going to change much. And yeah, if you're calling the fucking cops on them, then that's just fucking stupid. My kids and myself, we were outside playing basketball in the driveway on Saturday. I think it was Saturday, maybe it was Friday night. And I mean, there's no telling. I mean, someone driving by wouldn't know that we're all related. I mean, we got a 45-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old. And I mean, come on, anybody driving by could be like, well, they shouldn't be out there. It's like, yeah, we all live in the same house. We're all breathing the same air. Go fuck yourself. So if someone calls the cops, yeah, that's bullshit. People didn't mind their fucking business,
I know.
But then again, what are we saying? We kind of have to police each other a little bit. But I don't think the police should be policing us on this. But it's a slippery slope, man.
It's a weird time.
That's the terrifying part. If you're kind of anti-government, which I kind of am, is that we are allowing them a lot of leverage, and we don't have a better option. It's not like the libertarians of the world aren't like, well, here's how we should solve this, because we really don't have there's not a libertarian way to solve this. You kind of need the government to say like, hey, everybody needs to chill the fuck out and stay home for a little bit. Whereas the true libertarian was like, figure it out, take the risk if you want to take it, go fuck yourself. We'll see you at the hospital. So there's a balance, right? And so it's challenging. It's a challenging time, and we need to, I don't know. You just need to be open-minded about it. But
there's a lot of circumventing going on right now. There's a lot of laws being passed without going. I won't say without going through all the right hoops, but people are enforcing things maybe that the way they wouldn't have before. There's like the senator, I think, who everybody hates now because he stonewalled the stimulus bill or whatever.
Yeah.
At first you go, what a dick. Why would you do that? They're trying to pass this legislation so we can, help. And he's slowing it down. What an asshole. He's the only one. But if you look at his reasoning, and I'm kind of on his side. Like, it makes sense. He's saying, look, we need to vote on this in person. And the fact that, like, they didn't want to show up and vote, let's just phone it in, basically, which I guess makes it, there's less of a record of who voted which way. He's like, no, they're doing that on purpose, because when elections come up later, and if this doesn't all go perfectly, someone is going to want to use that against them, specifically the Democrats. And then if a Democrat has deniability, they can say, well, hell, I didn't vote for the stimulus package. That got pushed through. He's saying, no, we're going to vote on this. You're going to say whether you want this or not, so that later on you have accountability. And I kind of like, yeah, we should have that. This shit is supposed to go a certain way. I know you're trying to rush it through to make this happen as quick as possible, but let's do it the right way, in my opinion. And I think that's what he's saying. He wasn't just saying, I'm against this and I'm going to stop it. He's saying, we need to do it the way the Constitution says we need to do it. And yeah, I think there's too much of shit like that going on right now, where they're just like, fuck it, let's just do it. Who cares about a year's worth or 14 months of testing on this vaccination? Let's push it through. Who cares about this, whatever law we have to meet before we can distribute this? Fuck it, let's just get it in. I saw the other day where a guy was trying to, and this is sort of the opposite, but he was trying to, in Illinois, he had some contacts. He's a businessman that does imports of, I think, like hardware and medical equipment and stuff, or hardware specifically, but he has connections in China, and he was able to get, I think it was 10 million N95 masks sent over to the state of Illinois, but it had to be paid for with like a $12 million check from the state of Illinois. So the state of Illinois cut him a check, and then he ordered this shit. Well, it went through all these hoops of like, well, okay, I can appreciate that you did this, but we don't normally cash $12 million checks, and it has to go through these hoops and shit. And basically the government stepped in and was like, no, fuck that. Approve it. Send it here. Approve. They were just like, let's make this happen. And I get it, but like, how many things are we going to just ignore that we've always kind of held to a certain standard? And now we're just like, whatever. I don't know. It seems dangerous. It's risky. It's a slippery slope.
No, I agree. It is. And, and it goes with kind of what I started talking about earlier, but I guess, I don't know if it was Cuomo or if it was de Blasio was quoted as saying that, we don't have any respirators and we don't have any supplies or whatever. And I think Trump, I'm fucking this up, but I think Trump said something like, oh no, they have a stockpile. They have plenty of respirators. And they're just not acknowledging that. And they went back to, let's say it was de Blasio. I could be wrong. And he was like, well, we don't have a stockpile. We have a warehouse where there's someone who's like, that's a fucking stockpile, dickhead.
Right.
Right. So the people just aren't being honest. And so then that's the fear is that when people aren't being honest and we're cutting $12 million checks, everybody starts to be like, well, hold the fuck on. We know there's some ne'er-do-wells in the mix. We know there's some people that are crooked as the day is long. So
I saw an article the other day. I think it was local. I think it was a St. Louis issue, but it was talking about this particular hospital that was saying, they're at capacity and blah, blah, blah. But it said, we even had to open up some floors that haven't been used in years. I'm like, well, wait a goddamn minute. Are we at capacity or are we opening up multiple floors that haven't been used? Like, what the fuck? And I'm sure that goes on everywhere. I mean, there's an entire goddamn hospital just north of our town that's empty, that opened up like 5 years ago and supposedly went out of business or whatever. And it's just sitting there as a shell. Like, right. I guarantee you it's not totally empty. I guarantee you there's some beds and ventilators in there probably. But yeah, maybe. I'm sure every hospital has shit like that. They've shut down this wing because we don't need it or whatever. And this is a real problem. I'm not saying that there isn't a shortage of equipment, but when you say things like, oh, we're out of everything, we even had to tap into the warehouse, or we even had to open up the multiple floors that we have available. Like, what the fuck?
So you're saying, so you're saying there's not
before you say we're out of shit.
Right. So, yeah. Basically, they're just admitting. But that's also the beauty of media today, is that it's easy to catch them in this. Now, if you have an open mind and you're listening and you're paying attention and you're kind of hearing both sides of things and you're able to discern what's bullshit and what's not, then yeah, that's the beauty of media today. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
did you see the article, or it was a video on Channel 4 KMOV.com where former Governor Greitens, who is former for a reason, he left under controversy. But anyway, it was
framed.
Right, I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know.
He was delivering his SUV full of, it was like 85,000 masks and 95 masks to the fire department. But he didn't just do this. Like, he made sure the news was there. It was very orchestrated. They filmed him walking up. They showed him taking the box out, setting it on the ground, and then a fireman picks it up off the ground and puts it into the fire. It was this like very formal thing. Like, he clearly wanted attention for this. He had his blue denim shirt on with the sleeves rolled up perfectly to the elbow, and it was just like, this is made for TV, right?
Yeah,
and I'm like,
photo opportunity.
Where the fuck does he get 85,000 masks? He's got former Governor Greitens just has access to boxes and boxes of masks. Like, clearly he got them from somewhere. He could have just said, hey, I have access to this. If you guys want them, come get them, or whatever. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to make a photo op out of this and present the masks that I happen to have. Like, what the hell? It was so blatantly like for the press of it, but I don't know. It just seemed so weird to watch it. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, it's the people are being opportunistic.
And I don't have anything for or against him. I know nothing about him or the controversy that he had. I don't know. He was a Missouri governor, so I don't live in Missouri, but.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story either. But what you just made me do is you need to go to KMOV.com, and there's a story here.
Right.
Let me get your take on this.
Yeah.
Volunteers on horseback deliver groceries to elderly at senior living center.
Uh-huh.
Why are they on horseback?
I don't
know. I mean, are we in the Walking Dead world here?
Right.
Do we not have cars? I mean, could they not have loaded up a fucking Astrovan with this
Wouldn't
shit?
That have been a lot easier with the minivan? I don't understand it.
Here, to your point of the last thing you were talking about, they are doing this only for the photo op. They're doing it only so that KMOV says, oh, look at these people on horseback. Oh my God, what a great story. Put the camera on them,
Right.
So fuck off. I mean,
I'm guessing there has to be a reason. Like, why are they on horseback? I'm gonna skim through this. Donated large boxes of food. I'm guessing they weren't that large if they were on fucking horseback.
Yeah, she's fucking holding it in her hands. I'm looking at the picture. She's like,
right.
It's not that big. And this horse is like, bitch, get off. Get back in your van.
Oh, okay. Here's the quote. Here's the reason. Quote, they don't have much to look at around here, meaning the senior citizens that they're giving this equipment and supplies to. They don't have much to look at around here, so we want to give them something fun and exciting. So they brought horses.
Okay. Okay. Well, so they brought a petting zoo, but you can't come out and pet them. But that's good. Now, whatever. I mean, I get it. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
If it's just for the novelty to bring a smile to these seniors, fine. You know what they should do? Classic cars.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Drive up in a parade of Hemi Cudas and 57 Chevys and shit.
Yeah.
And,
especially for the older folks that would dig that shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Here, let me read some of these. I hate this I hate Camo. I hate local news. Mm-hmm. So here, local nurse resigns after being told she can't wear a mask around patients.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding me? So what hospital told, apparently St. Mary's, told this nurse you can't wear a mask? Are you fucking kidding? This is bullshit. There's no way this is
clearly got to be more to the story.
Yes. That's just fucking.
Is there? Where is it? I'm going to read it.
It was in the most popular on the right-hand side. Yeah. Nurse has 32 years of experience and worked for St. Mary's Hospital. She asked to remain anonymous because she's a lying bitch. That's not what they said. That's what I'm adding my own.
Right.
My own.
Said that on the news.
Yeah. The head of a state nursing organization said concerns about personal protection equipment and the safety of nurses are on the rise. You think?
Yeah.
Nurses don't want to be part of the problem. They want to be part of the solution.
Right.
No shit. Oh my God. Just stop. Stop trying to sensationalize everything. Stop trying to fucking scare everybody.
Yeah.
Report the fucking news and then shut up. We don't care about your opinion, news person, celebrity, whoever the fuck you are. Give me the facts. That's all anybody gives a shit about at this point. I want facts. I want numbers. I want data. I don't want your goddamn conjecture. I want you to tell me what's fucking going on with no fucking elaboration on your opinions.
Yeah, I know. You can't get it anymore. You can't get on either side. You can't get that unbiased news. But I feel like, and I'm sure it's just me being naive, it feels like the left is going way more out of their way to say things that are attacking the right or attacking this administration than the right ever did on the previous administration. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but it sure doesn't seem like it's the same treatment to me.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, this whole virus thing is a whole different animal. So it's hard to draw a comparison, but there is definitely some improprieties going on. There's definitely an imbalance here, and I think that this is not as much as I'm not going to go out on that limb to say that this is a scam or a hoax or it was manufactured outrage or whatever by the Democrats or by the Chinese or the Russians or whatever. I'm not going to go. We're not going to go down that road. But I will say that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, they never let a crisis go to waste.
Right.
Both of them they practice this. It's public knowledge. They do it, and some do it better than others. And in this case, the Democrat Party is taking every edge they can get on this. They think they're taking the edge. What they're doing, because it doesn't seem like that's not the cream of the crop of the Democrat Party. There's been better in the past. That these morons think that they've got the dumb populists, these dumb middle Americans. Oh, we got them all snowed. They don't know what's going on, and they think that we're too dumb to realize what they're trying to fucking do. But everybody's starting to figure it out. Even the Democrats. And even the centrist Republicans, and even the Republicans who love Trump will be the first ones to say, like, he's fucking lying,
Yeah.
And I think, but that's good. That's a good evolution. But there's still those factions out there on the fringes. But this event, as horrible as it is and as terrifying as it is, I think the end result is that it's kind of opening some eyes, and in the political world.
Well, one of the things I've seen.
It shouldn't be a political thing. That's the, so everybody, universally, the normal people in the world know this shouldn't be political. So it's pretty easy to see when someone tries to make it political, and then it's also very easy to demonize that person attempting to make it political. So it's a losing battle for Nancy Pelosi or for Chuck Schumer or for any of them. Who's the guy that looks like a turtle that's a Republican? All those fucking people.
Well, one of the things I've seen recently that's clearly, in my opinion, clearly manipulated data or information or fake news, whatever. And we've even seen where the opposite of this is where CNN has acknowledged that Trump's ratings have gone up since this coronavirus shit has happened, to the surprise of many people, but where they've said, I forget in the context exactly where how it was stated, but that basically Joe Biden has higher ratings than Donald Trump right now. Like in polls suggest more people in favor of Joe Biden. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. There's no conceivable way that Joe Biden is a higher rated candidate for the next election than Trump at this point. Like a month ago, we were talking about he was probably going to drop out of the Democrat race because Sanders had such a big lead. Now, that was up for debate too, but I mean, that was definitely being discussed, that he was failing at the states that he was supposed to get. Now, that completely changed later on in all the primaries and stuff, but it's just ridiculous that you can say Joe Biden, if you put any soundbite he's made over the last 6 months on air, people would laugh him off the stage, but I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's funny that there's on Real Clear Politics, there's an average of polls. It's kind of misleading. It's saying that, Biden is up 49 to, where'd it go? RCP average election 2020, Trump, Biden, 51 to 44. So Biden's got 51, Trump's at 44. So 6.5 point spread, which is huge. But it's like that doesn't, I mean, this is an average of averages, right? So it's an average of polls. It's very misleading. And even if you look at like individual polls, like Wisconsin, they're a deadlock tie. Florida, Trump's winning by 2. Pennsylvania, Biden's up by 3. But we know these polls are not reliable. Sure. It's all bullshit. But I think Biden, we're getting too political here maybe, but political analysis on it, that Biden, there's 2 ways you can approach it, right? Trump, every day Trump gets a political stump speech that's broadcast nationwide, and everybody cuts in if he says something that's mildly entertaining. But he's got time, and Trump knows better than anybody that even as long as it's publicity, even bad publicity, still publicity. Yep. And so if he gets free press, great. Free press is great press. So Biden can do a couple of things. He can try to steal some of that thunder and make himself out there, make himself available type of things, or he can just sit back and hope that Trump steps in it. So for a second there, Biden, he said that he was going to do, I don't know, may still be doing it, but he said he was going to do a daily coronavirus briefing. Yeah. And that went over like a fart in a car, and I think it stopped happening. I don't know if it ever had. The first one maybe happened. I don't know if there was any after that, but nobody cared. The Fox and CNN, nobody fucking went to it because Joe doesn't know shit. He's not the president. He's not the guy in charge. He doesn't get the daily briefing. He doesn't have the experts, the panel of people around him. He's got a couple of people, but they're probably just campaign experts, honestly. So it went away. So now I think Joe's gone back to I'm just going to sit back and hope that Trump fucks up and says something stupid. That's a losing stance. That's not going to win. Did you see
where I think it was CNN said they think we shouldn't be airing Trump's daily press conferences about the coronavirus? I think they were trying to make it seem like it's so pathetic and terrible and misinformation that we shouldn't even bother airing it. Yeah. But it screams panic, basically. Like, we can't, like you said, we can't let him keep getting free airtime. We can't let him getting free publicity, good or bad. It's still publicity.
Damn it, he's winning over the hearts and minds of Americans. Right. We can't have him doing
that. It's just such a joke. It's like they try to make it seem like, we're for the benefit of the people, we shouldn't even bother airing this. But it's like, no, for the benefit of your fucking party news organization, we shouldn't be airing this. It's like, fuck you. We all see right through it.
The kind of what's great about Trump in this era, he's said a lot of things that are cringy that you wish he would just stay to the script and shut the fuck up.
I'm not defending him wholeheartedly by any means, but
the things that they're criticizing him on, like especially the CNN dude, what's his name? I forget, the guy that he always fucking spars with on CNN. that they challenge him on stuff, and he's like, yeah, that's what I said. Yes, I'm trying to calm people down. That's my job. I'm the leader of a country. I'm here to tell you it's going to be okay. That's what I'm supposed to do. You know, I mean, he didn't say it that way, but that's basically what he was saying. He's like, yes, I do. I genuinely think it will get better. It's bad. It's going to get better. And I want you to trust that. And I want you to trust that the American economy is strong enough that we're going to get through this. So, yeah, that's my job. I mean, he didn't say, I'm not quoting him, but that is his job. Now, he says it differently. I was talking to Oliver about it, and I was like, Trump's funny, man. He puts words, he's like Yoda. He just uses words out of order, you know? It's like, stop. Why? You can't do it that way. You got to speak like everybody else, man. Don't put the words out of order. Only Yoda can do that shit, you know? Just fucking speak normal.
Right.
But he's Trump. He can do, apparently he can do whatever the fuck he wants to. I don't know.
I just love when these jackasses drink fish tank cleaner and die.
That's Trump's fault.
And that's Trump's, after Trump praises chloroquine in press conference. Yeah. Immediately after Fauci says the exact same fucking thing. He's like, there's been promising results with chloroquine and hydrochloroquine and whatever. It's like Trump didn't just invent this. It came out of the mouth of an educated physician who's on his staff to give guidance.
Right.
And everybody blames Trump and not this guy. There's no blame anyway. This guy, nobody said anything that made them ingest fish tank cleaner.
Yeah. Those people that drank the fish tank shit, their children or grandchildren are the Tide Pod eaters. And there's got to be a connection. I guarantee if you go down the fucking family tree of those fucking people, they're just not smart people.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, so, stupid is as stupid does. It sucks. I'm sorry that they fucking, if they died, they did die, right?
One of them did, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what? You fucked up. You're dumb. I don't tell you. I mean, so is it going to always be someone else's fault whenever someone does something dumb and kills themselves? I mean, if someone's looking down the barrel of a gun to see if it's loaded and they pull the trigger thinking it's not loaded and they shoot themselves in the face, that guy was dumb.
Right. Right.
That guy was dumb. Period. There's no more analysis required. That guy's a fucking moron. He fucked up.
Yeah, but Trump sent troops to Afghanistan and they use guns, and so guns are okay, according to Trump.
And the gun manufacturers shouldn't even be making guns. So, yeah. So,
don't get my wife started.
I know. I'm not trying to trigger anybody. But no, but that's the kind of shit you get. It's like, well, if we wouldn't even have these things, this wouldn't happen. It's like, but that's not the point. They do exist. So,
I don't know. To me, it's just
stupid people are going to do stupid shit.
Well, sure. And you see right through it when they try to blame Trump. It's like, come on. It's just fucking dumb. All right. Well, we're an hour and 8 minutes in. You're
not even going to let me talk about what I want to talk about.
I know. We didn't even get there. Should it be a second episode, or you want to just keep going?
Well,
just keep going.
Let's just keep going.
Yeah,
I don't have much to say. I have criticism, and I want to get your opinion on it.
If it goes long, we'll split it off right here.